Hello and welcome to Derbyshire Dales, a bedroom layout in double O gauge, which is DCC, and the size is 11 foot by 7 foot. So I left my last video at this hard standing. I was just doing this. A lot has gone on since then. I did say I was going to scratch build my own engine shed, but I've decided to go down the Metcalfe route. Obviously it's a little bit different than what you see on the box. Obviously their design is for the steam era, so I've taken all the chimneys off, and the louver, I think it's called a louver, that was sat across the roof, and adapted it myself. I've painted my own colour on the fascia board there as well, and I've had to do a small mod because these came out a little bit further. But when I laid the track and set this in concrete, so to speak, I was working to the dimensions of my scratch built shed. So this needed hacking down a little bit. So as you can see, yes, the yard is pretty much done. Right, I'll tell you what these are. These are actual drive shafts out of the EWS, which is down there, which we'll see in a minute. So I've taken the motor out of that so I can head it with another loco, or I can tail it. Obviously got the fencing round. So this is plaster on mod rock. So mod rock first, then plaster, and it's been an absolute nightmare doing it, to be honest with you. In retrospect, if I was to do it again, I'd do it a completely different way, because the rails constantly need cleaning. It has had a coat of matte varnish on it, which seems to help a little bit. Moving on, we have some of these floodlights. Now there's a little story about that. When I first fitted them, I was using two AA batteries, so they're 3 volts. I had a brainwave and decided to change the batteries out for a variable transformer. Looking on the transformer, I thought, yes, it's 3 volts. Actually it wasn't, it was set to 9. So I've blown every single set that's on the layout. There's a few more just down there, so they need replacing. We've got the back scene in the background because this is Derbyshire Dales, so we want some nice hilly scenery, and I've also started the embankment. These holes just here, there's one there and one behind the shed over there, which you can't see, it's off camera. The idea was to put a little brick wall in there and then put some of these relay boxes next to the line side. Well, yeah, made a bit of a mistake. Too big a gap, so I'm going to fill them in, both of them, plaster over them. That's job done with that. I've obviously laid plenty of track as well, because on my last video I had these 2 pieces and that was it. So we've got track going pretty much all the way around the layout, and it all works, apart from one point, which I think might be a problem point, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I'll just bring you in down here. So this is the EWS Class 67 loco, which I've removed the motor out of. Originally it was DC. Like I say, I'm running DCC sound. It's a DCC sound layout. So my first idea was maybe I can convert it and put a sound decoder in there. Then I had second thoughts and thought, you know what, just rip the motor out, you know. These blobs that you can see here, there's a couple there as well. The idea is to glue them down to the baseboard. When I'm ballasting, sprinkle ballast over the top of them so it looks like mounds of ballast dotted around. I've only got the 4 at the moment. Right, moving on to the buffer stops. These are by Gagemaster. They are brown to begin with, but I had the bright idea of painting them yellow and then spray painting a little bit of black on them. The camera's not probably doing them any justice. And these are really easy to fit. They just clip into the track inside. These are pinned down, so I can't pull one out to show you. And I believe if you watch Chadwick Model Railway, that you don't have to have the 2 LEDs. You can just have one, and you simply just snip in between them, I think, but I'm not sure. You can just see they are red. I quite like the 2 LEDs. We also have 2 working signals, and the signals are for locos coming out of the yard going onto the branch line. I've had to change my idea about having a main line because I've just not got enough space, so we're having a branch line now. There's a signal just there that you can see, and there's one down there at that tunnel portal as well. The tunnel portals are from Hornby and they are the Scaledale range, and I got them second hand at the model shop. And you can just see some more relay boxes there. I've dotted relay boxes here, there and everywhere. Hope I've not done too many, but there will be a couple going on the back as well. Just over there near the signal there's a couple. Don't know if the camera can pick that out. At the back of the engine shed, incidentally, the engine shed does have lights, and all I've used for that is 3-volt Christmas lights. At the back of the shed is the yard, and then we're going to have a road, access road that comes around and then off scenery here, and that will be a rock face, I think. They're the controls for the signals, so if we look up there, that should change to green. And we've got this side is for buildings and roads and that kind of thing, and then we'll have the main point motor switches on here with a schematic drawing of the layout. Right, moving on, you'll have to excuse my dodgy soldering. This is a lift out section because this window, I'm on the ground floor, this window has to be a fire escape, so I can simply lift the whole thing up. It will have scenery on there, it'll be lightweight, lift the scenery off, chuck it on the bed, and then you're out. So yeah, these are to supply power to jump it over onto the lifting section of the board. Absolute nightmare to solder because with these copper, basically it's just a copper pipe that I've crushed in a vise and then soldered the rail to it, and these are obviously the wires from a bus that run underneath the layout. Because it's such a big piece of metal, it really struggled, the soldering iron really struggled to get any heat into it, so that's why my soldering's a bit poor there. It's not usually that poor, and it's the same on the other side as well. So we have one line coming across here. All this will be scenery, hills and all that, up to this point here, up to the tunnel, and then maybe along there as well. So you will not see any of that. My idea being that the trains can come from the yard and disappear, like, you know, like they do in real life, and then they'll re-emerge over on this board, these boards, which is above the bed. Still a bit of a work in progress, this one, because obviously this is going to be my station area, and then at the back there, this needs chopping down a little bit because I've realised it's a bit overkill, the back scene. Then we'll have like a high street and what have you along the back. Now the back rail there, that will be hidden with a retaining wall, so that's going to give me about, I think, about 6 or 7 inches to play with between the end of here and the backboard. Obviously new loco, but if you've been keeping up with me, you would have seen that already. And I've got some intercity coaches. Now, yes, I do have 1, 2, 3 first class and 1, 2 break coaches. Obviously it's a very long train, and my station is going to be quite short because we're going off the baseboard here over another lift up section. So my idea being is I can either split the train into 3 or 2 coaches, so maybe a first class and a break, or 2 first class and a break, something like that. Or I've got another idea, because the station is having sounds, there will be a speaker mounted underneath here, and on the laptop just down there I've got some sound files, so we can have the train running through the station and then play this.
Stand well away from the edge of platform 1. The approaching train is not scheduled to stop at this station.
Right, so moving on. This lift up section I'm not done yet, but I'm hoping to get that complete this weekend. This is my access door, obviously. Over onto this scene, excuse all the junk. I'm sure everybody's layouts are like this initially. This is going to be the canal scene. So I've basically cut, these are Hornby, raised up by about 6 or 8 millimeters. They'll give me enough room to get the barges under. We've got the Metcalfe Old Forge there. That does have an orange light in it. Obviously this was part of that kit, but I've not bothered with the chimney on it. I had leftover card and I was able just to, I mean, it's not that brilliant, but from a distance you'll never know. And that's got the boat centres kind of thing on there. And then over in that corner where the other glues are, there will be the coaching that I'm still working on. That's another Metcalfe building. The coaching, I'll show you that in a second. All these wires are for the point motors when I get to that stage. I bought these from Halfords. There for these switches, because these little switches are a nightmare to solder. The soldering iron is just too hot and they just melt. I've had to, you know, take a few out of here because I've melted them, but I have got some new ones, so we'll be using, I think they're called spade connectors, aren't they, from now on. So I bought some micro ones there from Halfords, bought them out of Halfords, literally nothing left on the shelf, and then I got some from Amazon. I'll see that in a little bit. So here will be a black piece of blanking board, and that'll be a rock face canal behind it. That's the idea there. Obviously the track runs underneath. And coincidentally, where the lift out section is for here, so going from the drill over to this section, that will have a lightweight black tunnel on it, just so it goes from scenery, nothing, back to scenery. That's my idea about that. I think I've shown you the little car before. I bought a little car just so that when I get to doing the roads, I can gauge it properly, how wide the roads need to be. And then the back scene continues around there, but stops there. So I'm thinking about buying exactly the same for over there and over there, and then at least I can match them up. I mean, I know it's got houses and what have you in the middle, but we'll do our best to try and match it up. So that is, if I step back a little bit, that is the layout so far. And obviously it's a bedroom, so it's got to be functional. I need somewhere to store my bike and that kind of thing. There's the speaker. That's the speaker that's going under the layout. That will be attached by a long lead to the computer, which I've got to still find somewhere for the computer. I did have it on the wall, but I found that it was hurting my neck when I was trying to use it. So maybe, I don't know, a little sliding drawer or something. So yeah, don't know about that one. Another bridge to cross. All this will be blanked off with black. Obviously seen it break, so if I've got like a little hill or something, it will all knit in. So that's the layout so far. So there's the canal barge. Lovely little kit. I think they're called Craftline, the company that make these. It's balsa wood. A lot of people say use balsa wood glue. I don't use super glue for everything. You will find that these little bits, when you cut them out with a Stanley knife, will break. But you can quite easily glue them back together. Then we've got the back end there. And I've left the brass. I quite like the brass. So yeah, that's the barge. Over here, I've built myself a bit of a workbench, and then there is the coach inn. I've gone with the Black Horse Hotel by Banks's because I've actually been to that brewery, and obviously horses was used on the canal. So yeah, I've kit bashed it and we're having it straight as opposed to that's how it's supposed to look. So still working on that. This is something that the model shop very kindly threw in on my last purchase because I spent over 200 quid. It needs a bit of TLC. It's got people inside and lights. I've put a 3-volt battery on the lights and they do look quite pink, so they'll be replaced. So yeah, that's another little job. Started making my own trees. Oh, I'm having a go anyway. So that's just florist wire, and that one is actually polyfiller. But I bought some stuff from B&M, which is like a air drying clay. I think that's what it's called. But it's really, really sticky and I don't like using it. So I bought some different stuff, which I haven't tried yet. So that's the workbench. That's where I do my soldering if I'm putting droppers on the track as well. Right, so I'll bring you down to the box of goodies basically. So this is the moulding clay that I bought, which should be a lot better than the B&M stuff. Couple of extension leads, they've got to go under the layout. So we got some trees, got them yesterday, and they're not too bad. There's a lot of trees I've seen online that don't even look like trees, but I think I've got 20 of them. I got some of this stuff as well, which is from China, but I think it's like sea grass or something like that. Can't remember, but I can make bushes and what have you out of that. In this part we've got some Jarvis. I think this is spring green scatter. Obviously going to need tons of that stuff. And then in the gravy one, I've got some brown earthy looking scatter. I'll just move some of this. That's the big wire for the speaker under the layout. Another back scene. This will be for the town kind of scene. Pretty British town. So that's again from Gauge Master. So my idea with my trees is to use, I think it's called lichen. So put some of that on. Obviously I could spray it with a glue or hairspray and then give it a bit of scatter with a different colour than this. That's an idea. That's just all the spade connectors. There's loads in there, but the ones that I'm interested in are obviously the smallest ones. Track rubber. Got another LED style Gauge Master buffer. That's going in the yard. Don't know if you noticed, but there is a siding in there without one on. I mean, I'm not ready for all this stuff, but you know, when you see it, you just buy it, don't you? Scaledale wheelie bins. There's one there that's even got rubbish inside it. 1, 2. I think I've got 6 in total, but Gauge Master seat point motors, that's what I'm using. Some Pico fencing, that's flexible fencing, got 2 loads of that. It was my birthday last month, so my friend bought me the Pelican Crossing. Another motor there. We've got a bit of a campsite, so lovely little tent, and I've put a LED in there because I might drill out there's a little campfire in there, I might drill that out and put an orange LED in it. But yeah, quite pricey, they was. So we've got some, I think they're just single pole, single throw, normal switches. Hinges for the lifting section, a portal that I probably might not use, and then I think there's a packet of, yeah, there's 2 packets, that's it. them 2 packets are not single pole, single throw. They're the they're the switches I'm going to be using for the point motors, because you need it centre off but momentary either side. So obviously you flick it, your point motor moves, and then there's a spring in there that will move it back to the central position. So they're the point motors. A little bit of a hooks for pinning back the lifting up sections. Scale scenes, Hornby ballast. I'm going to need loads of that. So I've only got 2 packets of that at the moment. There's another point motor and some more switches and some 3-volt white LEDs. I think they're warm white, them ones. Went to the model show in Rill on last Saturday and got these. These are rail joiners by Model Tech. And basically you solder these to each section of the track and they will mate up with each other, because they've got like fingers that interlock every time you lift up and put it back down. I think that's pretty much it. Don't know what's in there. Oh yeah, that is the charge, what do they call them? Not the charge. Capacitor discharge unit for the point motors. I believe that this particular one you can throw 3 point motors at the same time. I'll only need to do 2 because I'm planning on just having 2 platforms, so I just need to throw 2 motors at a time. But obviously you can throw single motors as well. And last but not least, that's not the one, in there is the new floodlights. So you get 4 in a pack. They're £16.99, them ones, and you do get the resistors in them as well. So that's just a little look at what I've got going on. So there's plenty to get on with, but the main thing now is to get track all around the bedroom, get that second lifting section sorted, and then I can at least run that loco in, because at the moment I'm just running it backwards and forwards, which isn't doing it any good. It needs to be running half an hour each way. A couple of other little bits I've got is the Metcalfe platform kit, which is in stone. Probably need to get another one of them. And I've got the Country Station as well. They're to be built next after the coach in. And the last thing on the list is a little crofter's cottage. So that concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. The railway is now taking shape, and I'll see you all on the next one. Thanks for watching.